You are not lacking in resources. You're not lacking in understanding. You're not lacking in ability. You're not lacking in access to wisdom or confidence or strength or willpower. Although you might think you are, those things all exist inside of you. And also you're not lacking in access to resources on the outside in the form of the internet, which can answer pretty much any question you have. You're not lacking in access to books or courses, and you've probably been on or exposed yourself to as many of these things as you've been able to over the years that you've been looking to improve the quality of your life. The thing that you lack, the thing that you're struggling with, is resourcefulness, right? So let me say that again. You're not lacking in resources. You're lacking in resourcefulness. And what do I mean by that? Well, I mean taking everything that you've learned and turning it into something that works for you. Because here's the thing, all of the courses that we go on, all of the books that we read, and all of the things, the podcasts that we listen to, the sessions that we might have with our coaches and whoever else we're surrounded by who we want to help us change, really what we're doing is we're listening to what they've been through. We're listening to their story and we're listening to the lessons that they have to share, or we're reading about or watching about the lessons that they have to share, and we're thinking, yeah, that's great, that works for them, but how do I make it real for me? Okay, and this is the missing step. The missing step is that it's not that you don't know what to do. It's that you're not connected to an energy powerful enough to give you the kick up the arse, let's say, to actually do that. And I mean that in the nicest possible way, okay? I'm not saying you lack motivation. I'm not saying that you lack inspiration. I'm not saying that you lack the ability to help people genuinely go through change. But the thing is, there is an intensity required. There is a sense of energetic connection required that we can tap into that empowers everything that we have in a way that other people can't help but respond to, positively or negatively, of course, because not everybody's going to love what we do. But the thing is, if they respond to it, it means that we're getting through, right? And all of us want to get through to people. We do this work because we want to help, we want to serve, we want to save other people time. We want to inspire others to go on a journey of development because we've realized and witnessed and experienced how valuable it is for ourselves. Yet when it comes to actually doing things and putting ourselves out there and speaking from that place that we connect to when we're in the courses, when we're in the workshops and we're feeling so empowered and inspired, when it comes to standing in front of a camera, or it comes to standing in front of a room or writing something, we pause and we hesitate and we go, I'm not sure what to do now. Or we start to feel anxious and we start to feel uncomfortable. And it might even be that you're not in that world. You're just trying to help other people in your workplace. It might be that you have to deliver some kind of training workshop, and all of a sudden you realize that you've done the preparation, you know the course material, you know what you're trying to help people with, you know the outcome. Yet when you stand in front of people and all those faces are looking at you and expecting you to give them all the answers to their most meaningful and deepest questions, you go, oh crap, I don't know what to do here. And that's because the resourcefulness in that moment isn't apparent. The resourcefulness in that moment is overshadowed by something else that feels more important, which is either a feeling of self-consciousness, it's the anxiety, it's the mind saying, what happens if they ask this question? You don't have the answer to it. The mind says, yeah, what happens if they don't like it? What happens if they judge you? Oh, they're definitely judging you. Yeah, you sound really stupid. And so you start paying attention to that voice, and all of a sudden you hesitate. All of a sudden you shut down. Your posture changes, your body language changes, the tone of voice changes. And then you do the thing that you needed to do, and it might be okay, it might not, but you come away from it thinking, I could have done so much better than that. I could have delivered so much more, and you know that you have more inside of you, but you just can't find a way to draw it out. So here's my way of helping you tap into that, okay? It's not, you don't need to go on loads of other courses. You don't need to keep taking in information, right? You don't need to keep accessing data. We have enough of that. We're surrounded by it. It's using that in a meaningful way. And there's two ways of doing that I see. One is connecting to that powerful energy inside of you that allows you to express that from a place of knowing, from a place of confidence, from a place that's deeper inside of you than just what you've remembered and learned. That's number one, okay? And number two is giving yourself permission to not know. Giving yourself permission to explore. Like when I make this video, I have a rough idea of what I want to say, but I don't know how it's going to come out. But I know the message that I want to communicate is that it's possible. Okay, the message that I want to communicate is that regardless of how much you know and how much you think you know and how much access you have to stuff, at some point you need to do something with it. And when you start that process, it's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel unfamiliar. It's going to feel like, oh, well, I'm not really sure if this is the right thing or not. Do it. Give it a try. Reflect. Ask for feedback. Invite feedback and see how that comes and what you can make of that and use to continue improving yourself. And I say to you and I say to everybody, we don't lack resources, we lack resourcefulness. And I say this for two reasons. One, because I really care about helping people. Like I have spent most of my adult life feeling powerless, feeling trapped, feeling stuck, feeling like no one understands who I am and the brilliance that I have. And I just want someone out there to give me a chance and go, oh, hey, John, you're so awesome. And no one ever does because I'm not communicating that. And to be honest, I'm at that point in my life now where I don't care. It doesn't matter to me whether or not people see what I have. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in helping you see what you have. I want you to understand how brilliant you are and how brilliant you can be. If you get all of the stuff that you think is holding you back out of the way and you just put it to one side for long enough to see that there is something underneath that, it's that resourcefulness. And if we scale that up and we look at how that applies in business, like we're at a point in time now where we have access to more data, more information, more learning, more resources than we've ever had in our history. And that continues to improve and build. Yet for some reason, there are more people struggling. There are more people struggling with connection, communication. Businesses are struggling with innovation. Businesses are struggling to retain staff, to motivate their staff and keep their staff happy. Why is that the case? Well, it's because they're not being resourceful. It's not because they don't have information available. Like data is a big thing for a lot of businesses now. And if it's not a thing in the business that you're in, it will be very soon. But data is only half the story. Like, data is just information. And we have to frame that within a context and we have to give it meaning and we have to use the resourcefulness that's in here and in here to be able to do something with that data and create some kind of meaningful outcome for the people that we want to serve. And that's the resourcefulness. But as long as we're listening to that voice that says no one cares, you don't know what you're doing, everyone's going to judge you, you're going to fail, so you might as well not try, then there's no resourcefulness available. And I've been reflecting on this and I call this sense of resourcefulness, like this is the inner genius. Like this is that one inside of you who you may have experienced in certain moments of your life that just comes out with something and you think, whoa, where's that come from? It just finds a way to make things work. It's that part of you that can learn and grow and look outside of the things that you know. And it might be that has happened in moments of extreme hardship. Okay, so I'm not suggesting that you put yourself through hardship to get connected to that, but you know it's there because you've connected to it before. Okay, or it's happened in moments where you've learned something and you've had some kind of peak experience, let's say, where you just go so far out of your comfort zone, or you've learned something so compelling or so interesting that you're just like, oh, I have to share this with the world. This is awesome. So it exists inside of you, but so many of us live in these disempowered states. We live in this space where we just listen to that voice inside that says, yeah, that just happened that one time, you know, that's not who you are. You're this person and this person is, no one cares about you and you're not worth it and you're never going to have the things that you want. So just resign yourself to this life of being average. And even though that's not what you want, and you know that's not what's meant for you, you do it anyway, and you start to, well, it sounds a bit harsh, but you start to die a little inside. And, you know, there's a lot of people in the world of work out there who have resigned themselves to that life. And that spark, that inner genius, that sense of resourcefulness is just suppressed. It never truly goes away. It's never lost. It's just covered up by layers and layers and layers of, this is who I think I am, and this is who I think I need to be, and this is what other people expect of me, and this is what people are used to seeing, so this is who I'm going to show up as. And I'm saying to you, it's possible to put all of that stuff to one side. It's possible to reconnect with that inner genius, and I'm going to show you how to do that in future videos, all right? So stick around if that's something you're interested in. And the inner genius is that part of you that is infinitely resourceful. It's that part of you that doesn't just lean on the knowledge that you might have, or the skills that you have, or the experiences that you have, but it also is able to take those things and connect them in new ways, and draw out of you a new way of expressing something, or a new way of making a relationship to something, or challenging something, or connecting the dots that's never been done before. And if you don't think you can do that, well, then of course you're right, you can't, because that's what you believe. And I'm here to say, give that some thought. Like, maybe that's not true. Maybe it's just what you believe, and because you believe it, that's your experience. But there is this opportunity for you to look outside of that voice, to look outside of what you think other people are expecting. And this world of resourcefulness opens up, and this world of resourcefulness then starts to well up inside of you, and it starts to make connections, and it starts then to work without you even realizing it. So when you're taking in information, automatically you start to realize you've seen that pattern before. You've seen it somewhere else in a different context, and maybe those two things are related. And if you draw to that relationship together and you do something constructive with it, maybe it can transform an outcome. Maybe it can transform your business. Maybe it can transform your relationship or your personal life. And that's all being an inner genius, or being connected to your inner genius is. It's seeing patterns where you hadn't seen patterns before. It's connecting the dots where you may not have seen that the dots even existed. And it's being able to form new outcomes as a result of that. That works in every single area of your life, whether it's you trying to transform yourself and the way that you express yourself, whether it's your relationships, whether it's your financial situation, whether it's your career, whether it's just the way that you perform your sport of choice or your game of choice, or maybe it's all of those things. I mean, for me, it's all of those things, right? So I'm looking everywhere to connect those dots and find ways to make things better. So consider that for a moment. You do know enough. Consider that for a moment you have enough access to information. You have enough experience. You have enough understanding. You just have to use it in a way that works for you. You have to put it together and do something with it. And that doesn't have to be any grand, enormous step. It can be a small step. It can be just reflecting on all of the things that you've been through so far, looking at the patterns in your life, getting an external reflection to support you with that, and using that understanding to move forwards in a new direction, looking at the results you get, and then continuing to do that, and just adjust your course until you get the result that you want. And maybe it helps you to redefine the result that you're seeking, because a lot of people don't even know what they want. It's a generic outcome. I want to be happy. I want to be rich. I want to be successful. Define that. Understand what that means for you. Move in that direction and see, as time goes on, how much more refined it becomes. See that inner genius working. See those patterns coming to life and make something of it. So stick around. I've got tons and tons of not just information to share with you, because information is useful, everybody can benefit from that, but practical ways of actually making this a reality in your life. Not just going on another course, not just buying another book, not just listening to another podcast, but actually applying those changes for you in a way that makes a meaningful outcome. So if you want more of that, stick around. I got plenty of that to come. All right, so thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate your time. Have a great day and Peace. Lots of love. See you soon.